This is a Defocus Media production. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover.
And I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, resident optometry nerd.
And welcome to Defocus Media, optometry's #1 podcast, where we discuss the hottest topics, latest technology, eyewear, practice management, and more. So sit back, relax, and defocus.
Hello, welcome to a new episode of the Defocus Media podcast. I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, and I was thinking the other day, not that long ago when I was in optometry school, we were still being taught that there were 3 distinct layers of the tear film and that cleaning the eyelids with baby shampoo was the best way to treat blepharitis. Things have changed a lot, and our expert guest on today's episode is one of the reasons why we know so much more now. Please welcome to the show, Amy Gallant Sullivan.
Hello, Dr. Lyerly. Thank you so much for having me back. It's great to see you again.
You really have been doing the Lord's work. I have to tell you, there's so much mindset change that's happened in optometry. And I know I've been purposely much better educated because of your endeavors to get me up to speed on what we should be talking about with our patients. So thank you for all you do.
Well, thank you for being part of the story. There's a lot of education.
And so we're going to dig into some new findings, new research, new happenings in the world of ocular surface. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Amy, she is the CEO and founder of Eyes Are the Story and executive director and co-creator of the Tear Film and Ocular Surface Society. And she travels all over the world, like a different country every week. So Amy, tell us a little bit about what you've been up to lately and where you're headed next on your travels.
Oh, goodness. Well, that's a loaded question in itself. I feel like I have to bring out the passports and, stop in customs and explain where I'm going next. So it's really exciting because actually, not only with Eyes of the Story are we selling in, I think, 9 different countries right now, but TFOS just published the TFOS DEWS III report. So, and as you're well aware, TFOS collaborates with eye doctors in over 100 countries. So right now, between Eyes of the Story and TFOS, the globe is spinning, my plane is ready, and if anybody wants to lend their jet, it would be a lot easier than,
Yeah. I'm sure one of these optometrists out there probably does have a private jet. We haven't made friends with them yet, but I'll keep you posted.
Exactly. Call to action. If anybody wants to loan it, I'm more than happy to do some TikTok videos or something to say thank you so much. This makes the travel a little bit easier. So
Eyes of the Story, tell us a little bit about what's happening with that brand, because major milestones are occurring all the time. And I'm trying to think, how many years has this been on the market? Because I feel like time has been flying for us.
Dr. Lyerly, it's so wild because, in fact, it was in 2020, right smack in the middle of the global pandemic, when you and Dr. Glover hosted the unveiling of Eyes of the Story, when everybody was on their sofa, all the clinics were closed, nobody could see their patients, and everyone was like, ah! So we're here. It's a different world. Now we can actually see each other face to face. We can actually have makeovers. We can not share each other's eye makeup, but we can definitely share tips about, what's good and what's not great to use on and around the eyes. So a lot has changed since 2020. But one thing that hasn't changed is what's fantastic is because we launched during 2020, I was able to tap my global network of eye care professionals with whom I've been working with for the last 20 years to tell them about Eyes of the Story and the reason behind the brand, the world's first opto-cosmetics, as in, say, cosmetics and skincare made for eyes specifically. So what hasn't changed is not only are the world's leading eye doctors supporting Eyes of the Story, but now they get to sell it in more countries. So it's incredible to see where we've come since they were literally all talking about Eyes of the Story from their sofas from lockdown. So it's like, wow.
I mean, every single day, it's one of those things where we all have patients coming in with ocular discomfort, with dry eye, with sensitivities, where they're really struggling to get through their day, really struggling to wear makeup. And I have just been so thankful over the last 5 years that instead of me saying, oh, well, here's a list of ingredients that you want to avoid. Like I can actually point them to a makeup line that I know and trust and I know is going to be completely safe for their surface. And so having a specific line that we can recommend is just such a game changer. And I know you had to go out. I mean, y'all can go back and listen to this podcast. You had to make all these products. These were products that did not exist. You had to find people willing to make products without chemicals that are going to irritate the eyes.
Dr. Lyerly, it was a 15-year adventure to actually get to that point. So this isn't something, Eyes of the Story isn't a brand that I woke up one morning and said, oh, let's just put, slop in a bottle, put on a new label and sell a new line of products. No, this is a brand that actually was 15 years of research that went into it. I have collaborations with laboratories in US, Canada, Italy, now in the UK as well. And we work with ocular surface disease specialists from around the world to decide what should actually go into that bottle or that pen. And that was huge. So it wasn't just a list of ingredients, but it was what ingredients should be there or shouldn't be there or could be there and what concentrations, but also the application. And there's so much more education to it. So just even beginning the story about why it was necessary to make these products was huge. And how do you do that during a global pandemic when everybody is learning about just, health in general and how to take care of themselves? It literally was an eye-opening subject. And it's fantastic to see how such a niche idea has really developed into a lifestyle conversation and gone to clinics. And now it's an integral part of protocols in so many clinics, literally around the world, because what we use on and around our eyes can literally impact our eye health and our wellness, quality of life. And it's turned into a much bigger story than, oh, here are some ingredients that you need to avoid.
Before we started recording, you had mentioned to me one thing that constantly surprises you is how many people with a diagnosis of dry eye that are using a prescription medication or getting prescription treatments for dry eye don't relate the fact that they have sensitive eyes and that they need to be using a product that is going to be more less sensitizing to their ocular surface. So tell us a little bit about your experience that you have with people just not understanding really what's happening with the diagnosis.
Well, it's absolutely mind-boggling to me. Well, first of all, everybody on the planet has sensitive eyes. No surprise there, really. But what is surprising is the fact that there are millions and millions of people around the world that have extra sensitive eyes, meaning they have ocular surface disease, dry eyes, meibomian gland dysfunction, use contact lenses, sit in front of a computer screen all day. Their eyes are extra sensitive. And what we're doing on our daily basis can actually make our eyes more sensitive, such as the products we use. And it's fascinating because it's not only the patients that have come to me and said, well, I don't have sensitive eyes, but I have a hard time finding products because blah, blah, blah. I said, because you have sensitive eyes. But it's also the eye care professionals that don't realize that sensitive eyes are really a subject beyond just dry eye, because so many things that we do, so many of our lifestyle choices can be making our eyes more and more sensitive. And it's fascinating to me that term, say, sensitive eyes, really has not been fully, developed, because again, we all have sensitive eyes and we all should be wary about what we're using on and around our eyes, because it's making them, in many cases, more sensitive. Hence, you have a job, hence your colleagues have a job and lots of patients, but we need to better educate each other about what that means, because if somebody has OSD, they have sensitive eyes. If somebody's wearing glasses, they have sensitive eyes. Somebody has contacts, sensitive eyes. Somebody is wearing sunglasses. Oh, wait, everybody should be wearing sunglasses. Why? They have sensitive eyes. Guess what? Everybody has sensitive eyes. So yeah, it's for me, it's mind-boggling that more people don't realize how sensitive their eyes are and how they really need to address it. But this is an ongoing thing. And I'm like, wow, we actually have to tell people what it means.
Absolutely. Well, like you said, I think many doctors are realizing that even the phrase dry eye can lead to so much confusion and so much misunderstanding among our patients. So our verbiage, explaining what we mean, explaining the symptoms that a patient's going to experience, this is something that all of us need to work on to do better, to connect what our patients feel in their day-to-day life with what actually can be done to help them feel better. So let's talk a little bit about your product. So well, now that you've got 5 years of data and sales reports, and what is your best-selling product for Eyes of the Story?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's interesting. So I will obviously have to say the mascara mini, the trio, because we have sold out already 3 times, which is absolutely insane. We have other products that have already sold out as well, but the mascara has already sold out 3 times, and we're just like scramble, scramble, scramble. So it is really, it's a hot product. It's a cult fab. What can we say? So yes, the mascara has sold out 3 times, and again, it's available, I think, in 9 different countries at this point in time. So
that probably goes along with, so best-selling product, and you also can't keep it in stock. I know at one point the eyeliner. I mean,
this is
like people. I saw you holding it.
This is as proof. It's coming back.
Okay.
So this actually sold out as well. And what's insane is we're like, oh, we have plenty of eyeliner to get us through until we can make the next production. Boom. Oh my God. What just happened? And the thing is, it's not like calling up the pizza delivery guy and saying, hey, I want some pepperoni with extra cheese on it. 15 minutes later, you have a hot pizza. These pens, actually all of our products are custom made for us. So raw materials, components, everything is made custom made. So this isn't something that we order off of Amazon or Alibaba and we can get it delivered in 72 hours. It's every piece. Like it's a full component. Like every little aspect of this pen is a different piece to make Eyes of the Story. So the story is actually complicated behind the scenes because it isn't just some ingredients and voila, you have the pizza, or voila, you have the cake, you have a product. No, it actually takes us a long time because, again, we have medical grade luxury. So we have very high-end raw materials that have to be sourced from responsible sources, and we have very high-end materials that have to come together, and it takes time, and everything is hand done. So, but it's coming back. There's proof. It's here.
As an eyeliner fan, I'm excited to hear that. So thank you.
And Brown,
I never use eyeliner actually until yours.
Too. Really? Oh my goodness. And you don't waterline, do you?
No, of course not. Are you crazy?
No, but seriously, there was just on the OD Divas Facebook the other day, there was somebody saying, but I love waterlining. Is it really that bad? And everyone said, you're an optometrist. You should know better. And again, Dr. Lyerly, it's really surprising to me that the ECPs out there can have certain, say, beauty habits. And you're just like, well, how are you counseling your patients not to do certain things? But you're going to go home and use eyelash growth serum or waterline with the eyeliner or use retinols around your eyes. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, you're right. And, we do have to make sure that we're practicing what we preach and believers of the science behind this. So, I mean, again, but it's so important that you are one of the people really leading the charge about education around this, because again, like optometrists were just people at the end of the day, and they grew up, probably not experts on eyes, doing all these makeup habits and using these products. I mean, I used to think that Cetaphil was the absolute best, safest face wash, and I wondered why I always had eczema all over my face. So, we get misinformation from our other medical care providers even about what products we should be using, and it's on us to educate ourselves and learn better and do better.
No, thank you for saying that. And it's just like, we're all humans at the end of the day, and it really is education, but it's important also to say that everything that I talk about, we have scientific backing. We actually have peer-reviewed research that we have sourced to make all of our claims. And we've done trials on all of our products to validate all of our claims. So we're not just talking about fluff just to do marketing and saying, oh, this is good or this is bad or whatever. We can actually come back to you and say, why? And to your point about Cetaphil, for example, I don't talk about other brands, but for example, our face wash, people always ask, why on earth did you do skincare? And it's like, okay, so we have a couple of products in skincare at the moment. We have others coming. Why? Because what's made for sensitive skin isn't necessarily safe for sensitive eyes. And this is also part of the education. And what's fascinating about it is, for example, say the clinics that have the dry eye spas that do, say, IPL treatments. When a patient goes in for IPL, great. What do they do when they go home?
Absolutely.
Why aren't your colleagues giving them a protocol about what they should be washing their face with and moisturizing their skin with? Because when a patient goes home and goes back to their routine of using whatever face wash that has chemicals, we call them the nasties, that they really shouldn't be using, that can be compromising the meibomian gland, for example. And then they use retinol creams or other anti-aging creams that, again, compromising the ocular surface, or et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, whoa, hold on. Why aren't your colleagues giving them an at-home protocol to use daily? Because you want the treatments to work, your patients want the treatments to work, but it's an expanding conversation. Right. So it's actually interesting what you just said about skincare, because it's all part of, say, the Eye Safe Beauty movement. It isn't just about not putting eyeliner on the waterline. It's about all of it. What you wash your face with, what you moisturize your skin with, the colors you put on your lids, whatever you put on your lashes, what you take it off with. It's all part of the story.
Absolutely. Oh, man. So it's so exciting to hear, again, a whole line of facial products that made with the eyes in mind. So, and as a user of the face wash, it is.
And your daughter too?
Yes. My daughter has used it to take off her face paint.
I love that video so much. She's so precious. But it should start at every age. There isn't an age where it's like, because little girls and young boys too, they need to understand what to wash their face with, not to be washing their face with the shampoo they're using on their head. But it's a conversation for everyone, because we need to understand over the years, like, how our lifestyle choices again are impacting our eye health.
Well, I know as part of this, because I see the reviews on your website when I go to get restocks on something. Can you share some patient stories or some feedback you've had from your customers with Eyes of the Story that has just really propelled you to keep going?
Well, first of all, thank you for reading the reviews. It's something we literally just activated them. They've only been available on the website for the last couple of months. So it's okay. It's emotional and empowering in so many ways, because I actually receive a lot of emails, like tomes, from people thanking me about how much using these products has impacted their life in so many ways. So I use one example of a woman. She had lost all of her eyelashes and she had no confidence whatsoever. And anything she put on her face would just burn her eyes. So she reached out to me when she heard about this brand, and it wasn't actually available yet in her country. And she said, please help me. So I sent her the products, and she said, not only could I use your products, but my eyelashes grew back. She said, incredible. You gave me my confidence back, and my health came back as well. And she said, I now use your products every day. I tell everyone about them. And it's amazing, because she said, it's confidence in a bottle. She said, you gave me confidence, quality of life, health, and my eyes are happy. And it's just amazing, because there are so many people who have written to me. There was a new bride who wrote to me recently, and she said, I was terrified to find cosmetics for my wedding day because I react to everything. I found Eyes of the Story, and she said, you were with me on my wedding day. Oh. And she said, thank you. My eyes were bright white and sparkling and happy, and my lids weren't swollen, and my eyes weren't watering and red. And she said, Eyes of the Story was with me at the altar, and thank you so much for being part of my story. So we have so many powerful testimonials, even, cancer patients who, again, use these products, and they're like, wow, thank you. Again, confidence, glow, skin health, eye health. It's just, it's so touching. Some of these messages, they even make me cry. And it's just, my objective is to help people, and they help me keep going, because, it's not easy to do something like this. It's not easy to build a new brand, a new niche, to develop the education and to share it and have people understand why this was made, because we're not a big brand yet. So it's all,
people are finding you organically, probably for the most part, but through recommendations of their doctors, sometimes through friends and families that are using the products, and this kind of thing does tend to snowball. I just really, I love the patient with that achieved lash growth simply by changing up cleansing and product routine. We oftentimes will have patients who've had either radiation treatments or something, and they have lost lashes, and they will come in specifically asking for lash growth serum recommendations, right? Because they want to grow their lashes back. Right. And I think as doctors, we need to be aware, one of the great things we can do to help lashes grow back is to create a healthy eyelid. And
less stress too.
Yeah, that's true. And so using a pro-inflammatory lash growth serum, is kind of undermining potentially a healthy eyelid and an unstressed, a pro-inflammatory prostaglandin. So, okay, we got to keep this in mind. So that's a great proof that if you have an anti-inflammatory approach, you can get lash growth.
But it's interesting. I've had men contact me as well. And it's really interesting because men have contacted me and said, can we use your products? And I said, well, yes, because everybody has eyes. Everybody wants to see. Everybody wants to have healthy eyes. Why not? And I've had some phenomenal feedback from men as well. And I mean, they even use our serum as aftershave. But it's really interesting to see their to read their feedback, because they didn't know what to do, because they're not as prone to finding, say, aesthetic products, because they're just used to buying soap and shampoo. So they just think, okay, I'm cleaning. So, and they never actually thought that their eyes could be sensitized by the products that they're using, because they hadn't thought about it before. But now they're using anti-aging products. Men are even using eyelash growth serum. So I've seen men with mascara as well. It's aesthetics are so many people use aesthetics. But so it's interesting because the conversation is developing, and we have to be aware that there are a lot of people out there that are looking for solutions because their eyes are really sensitive, and they're like, how do I make that better without the inflammation?
So we talked about some of the mistakes that doctors are making with, like, for example, doing an IPL treatment. The patient's making a big investment, but if they go home and they're not changing their lifestyle and the things they're doing around the eyes, their results are going to be limited by the environment that they're immediately going back into. Is there another big mistake that you see doctors making when it comes to educating their patients about cosmetics or facial cleansers or eye products in general?
Well, I would go back to the skincare first of all, because that's one of the things. It's already a big conversation for most ECPs to have about, say, cosmetics. And again, cosmetics are anything that you rub, pour, sprinkle onto your face, which means on and around your eyes. So that includes color and skincare. So they think that just switching out your mascara, everything is going to be fine. So I think it's really, really important to integrate the skin as well. Eye skincare. So the eye skincare market is actually increasing in awareness because of the conversations we're all having about dry eyes and blepharitis and rosacea and all of these different things. And what I'm seeing is not enough of the ECPs realize how important it is to integrate eye safe skincare. Again, it's not just the IPL treatments. There are a whole myriad of procedures, treatments, management protocols, but they're not including the skincare treatments. And even I've had some feedback from patients who contacted me and said, so I went into this clinic and I had a blah, blah, blah treatment, but I went in with eye makeup on and nobody said anything to me. And that's shocking. Or the ECP gives them some sort of unknown wipe to take off their eye makeup, and that wipe is laden with things that maybe you can use to remove toe fungus with. And it's just shocking because patients will write to me and ask me what I think. And I just say, well, this is a wonderful opportunity to have a conversation with your eye doctor, because we're all learning together, and it's really a new territory. And that's also why TFOS published the TFOS lifestyle report on cosmetics, because we want ECPs to have more conversations with their patients. So I think that's one of the big red flags of the moment. It's not just about changing your mascara. It's literally about your whole routine, and it's a lifestyle choice and lifestyle management and quality of life. So I think that's the biggest, gaping hole at the moment. Well, one of them. So,
you mentioned about the TFOS report, and you earlier on the show we talked about TFOS DEWS III is published, which is a huge new undertaking. We're not going to dive all into that because that deserves podcast content of its own to really get into the weeds of that report. But TFOS DEWS II came out in 2017. And I feel like part of me is like, oh, that was still so new. It was a huge game changer, changing the definition of dry eye, changing how we're thinking about approaching dry eye as more of a finding homeostasis or balance of the tear film. What kind of prompted everyone involved to think, hey, it's time to publish a new report?
I would love to say it's just because of all the social media stuff that's out there, and there's so much more education that needs to be had. Oh, wait, that might have been part of it. But there have been more than 8,000 peer-reviewed articles published since TFOS DEWS II was published. Okay, that was published, what, 6 years ago, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. More than 8,000 peer-reviewed articles. Obviously, if so many people are writing about it, there's something to talk about.
Right.
So the organizing committee really talks about, okay, what is new since then? What have we learned since then? What have we learned? There is a lot more that we need to know.
Yeah.
So they said, all right, let's do this. And even with TFOS DEWS II, there was a section, it was the iatrogenic dry eye section. And that was one of the catalysts for the TFOS lifestyle workshop and report. So it's interesting how when the TFOS experts come together and decide on a subject, it balloons into, oh, wow, we need to know more. This is what we know. And this is what we know we don't know. And this is what we know we need to do, or we think we need to do. But wow, it's a call to action. So there's a lot of information. You definitely need to read it.
I know optometrists listening to this podcast are going to notice like the slew of new dry eye treatments, new FDA approvals and drops and in-office treatments available. And we have been flooded with new innovations in dry eye, which is a fantastic problem to have. Like we have so many more options to treat our patients, but that's just kind of a little bit of a proof of we've got this many more treatments because there's this much more research that's happened.
But Dr. Lyerly, there are some of your colleagues still say dry eye syndrome. So just think about how big this call to action is. As you referenced, there are so many new treatments out there, but guess what? The education needs to back up a moment and say, okay, everyone still needs to better appreciate and understand this disease, which we still don't thoroughly understand or appreciate in many cases. So how are we going to work together to better diagnose, manage, and treat dry eye disease?
Yeah.
And TFOS DEWS III is, I'd say, a first step to getting to the next step.
That makes sense. I know. And anyone who is obviously like, I also struggle. Sometimes I say ocular surface disease. There's so many different words that we use to say this, right? At the end of the day, when we have to put in the code in their plan, we have to pick dry eye syndrome. That's what it says in the ICD-10. So I get it if we're saying dry eye syndrome.
No, I mean, come on. Who do I have to call to get that changed? Because we changed that with TFOS, the original TFOS dry eye workshop. We said it's a disease.
Yep. I know. And then we drag that button across multiple times every single day, and that just gets put back right into our minds.
Yeah.
Maybe ICD-11 will finally get that updated. I don't know.
I mean, I've only briefed Congress how many times? It's like, who else? Who can I ring up? It's like, yeah, okay. We try. Team effort.
One of the little tidbits, and again, we're not going to dive too much into TFOS DEWS III, but one of the things that's really kind of been discussed a lot with this report is there has been a change or update to the definition. And I'm going to read the new definition for us. Dry eye is a multifactorial symptomatic disease characterized by a loss of homeostasis of the tear film and or ocular surface, in which tear film instability and hyperosmolarity, ocular surface inflammation and damage, and neurosensory abnormalities are etiological factors. And the big call was the inclusion of the word symptomatic. Can you share why the team felt like that was an important inclusion that needed to be added to the definition?
Yes and no. So first, I would strongly recommend that everybody read TFOS DEWS III. It is available online for free, open source. It's published by the American Journal of Ophthalmology, so you can get it on their website, and we will soon have it linked on the TFOS website as well. So I will say that one of the reasons, or the reason why the definition was revised, is because they wanted to acknowledge the loss of homeostasis can be in the ocular surface as well as in the tear film. So it's very important to say, once again, there's a lot we've learned and there's a lot more we're still learning. So it's really important to see, to read the new report to see what has changed and why. And that will definitely cause a lot more discussions, a lot more call to action, and I'm sure a lot more new innovative therapies.
I have not completed the entire report yet. I read the therapy and management report, and after, this is such a labor of love, guys. As you read this report, you'll see what I mean. Individual ingredients and artificial tears broken down with the science and the research. Like the artificial tear section alone is completely overwhelming. How much we know about what these ingredients can do. So a big thank you to everyone involved, because I know how much time this took to put together and how much time it's going to take for doctors to read this. But obviously very worth, when we're recommending products, understanding what those products are doing and why we're making the recommendation for them. Can you preview any events that are upcoming where people can learn more and have some more support about gleaning all this important TFOS DEWS III information?
Absolutely. First of all, we would love for you and Dr. Glover to have a podcast on it. So, the TFOS experts can discuss the report. But also, we will have an executive summary that will be made available. So it'll be sort of a cheat sheet on the report, so you can reference it more easily after you read the full report. And we're looking at different ways to disseminate the education. So definitely look forward to presentations. There will be a presentation, for example, at the American Academy of Optometry in Boston in October. So that'll be one way, meet the experts. And we have a lot of things lined up. So sign up on tearfilm.org and get our newsletters, and, obviously send me a message if you have a question, and we can go from there. But watch out for a lot of educational series.
It's going to be great. I know I'm going to need help even after reading the report, like disseminating, thinking about it, putting it into alignment on my brain. Like any good report, there's so much information. Reading at one time, you have to distill it. Okay. So I'm looking forward to consuming this in little bite-sized chunks to really make sure I grasp the main contents right along with all of our listeners. Where can people connect with you, Amy? Because obviously this is continued research, continued happenings. You've got to stay up to date on the products with Eyes of the Story, so you can talk to your patients about what's coming out next, what's available right now. Tell everyone how they can follow along more closely with you.
Let's keep it really, 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 really easy. My social media handle is Eyes Are the Story. You can find me everywhere, Eyes of the Story. You can send me a message, social media, Eyes of the Story, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, send me a message, email, info@eyesofthestory.com, Eyes of the Story, Eyes of the Story, Eyes of the Story. And if you have a TFOS question, no problem either. Send me a message there and I will get back to you, because at the end of the day, Eyes of the Story. And it takes a village to manage ocular surface disease. And we all have to work together to better understand what we're facing and how we can manage it.
Thank you so much for your time. I know when y'all are listening to the show today, you probably are leaving here thinking, there's a lot more that I need to do. This is just like a little appetite teaser, like making me want to dive in more. And that's exactly what we were hoping to kind of spark your interest.
Well, Dr. Lyerly, seriously, a story has many pages. So this podcast was one page. Maybe it was just the introduction, and there are several more chapters to share. So thank you very much for having me back today. And I look forward to continuing the story.
Yeah. And thank you for my wonderful, happy eyes now that I can use eyeliner. So I appreciate you and all that you do. Have a great rest of your day, everyone listening. Thank you. Stay tuned for the next chapter in this ongoing story of ocular surface disease and dry eye disease, not syndrome. Whether our ICD-10 code says syndrome or not, we can do better, everyone. Till the next episode.
Hey, family.
See you soon.
If you enjoyed this full podcast, don't miss out on more engaging content. Check out the next episode right here. And for the latest updates, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support means the world to us. Catch us in the next episode. Peace.